This is Hall County Sports, brought to you by Green Ford on Browns Bridge Road in Gainesville. Check out the latest deals. Remember, when you go Green Ford. By Mountain View Auto Repair, a full-service shop for all of your automotive needs. Call Danny at Mountain View Auto Repair, 770-535-7278. And by McKelvey Road United Methodist Church. Visit us on McKelvey Road in Oakwood. With 3 worship services, Kids Town, and adult small groups, McKelvey Road United Methodist Church, dedicated to transforming the world through the good news of Jesus Christ. Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Hall County Sports Television. I'm your host, Gary Glenn. Well, the big news on the local sporting scene in Gainesville and Hall County last week came from the soccer pitch. 3 Hall County teams made the Final Fours and 1 advanced to the state championship game in their respective classifications. In 4A, Johnson made the state championship title tilt for the first time ever in the history of the school by knocking out Southeast Whitfield 1-0 in the semifinals. Fabian Abarca smacked a free kick into the group in front of the net, and Baruch Perez hit it in the only goal of the game and the only one the Knights would need to go to 21-1 on the year. The defense was outstanding, with Ivan Salcido getting the win in goal. Now that set up the match between number 2 rated Johnson and top-ranked, unbeaten, and defending state champion Dalton, an old nemesis of the Knights. They last met just a year ago in the second round of the playoffs, and Dalton came away with a 2-1 win. Johnson's impressive run ended in that state championship game at Kennesaw, where Dalton continued their unbeaten streak with a 2-0 shutout of the Knights. And afterwards, Johnson coach Brian Shirley met with the media, including Hall County Sports Television's Matt Manning.
Coach Matt Manning with Hall County Sports Television. Congratulations on a hallmark, incredible season. Can you give me a few of your thoughts?
Fantastic season. These guys set the school record for wins in the season. 21, won the region title, first Johnson soccer team to ever make it to the state final. Yeah, we're disappointed we weren't on the winning end today, but it'll sink in with these guys in a few days exactly what they were able to accomplish and get here and give them a game and play to the best of our ability, though we didn't execute the game plan as well as we should have.
I know all of Hall County is proud. Congratulations, Coach.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
I'm standing here with Fabian Abarca, sophomore Johnson High School player. Fabian, how did you feel about going to state? First year going to state. How are your feelings?
It felt pretty good to go out there and be one of the top 2 teams in the state for 4A, so it felt pretty nice.
11 seniors leaving. What are the preparations you have for next year? How are you feeling about it? It's almost going to be a new team. How do you feel?
Well, Coach is telling me we're going to have a lot of good freshmen coming up, so it is going to take some work, but I think we'll be all right. We'll be as good as always. Johnson has a really good soccer program, so we'll be all right.
Overall, how do you think the team did versus Dalton?
We did good, but we could have done way better. We got into that game. We kind of, I guess we got tired and just at the end wanted the game to just be over once they scored the first goal.
Alberto, how did you feel going to state?
I was pretty proud at the moment, and it felt an amazing accomplishment.
How were your reactions towards the game? How did you feel during and after the game?
I felt like we could have done better, and that I guess a lot of us weren't as used to as everybody else in that position, and a lot of us were nervous.
How do you look forward to next year?
Stepping up and filling in the spots that left with seniors.
Do you think it's going to be better? Or?
Yeah, better.
Isaac, being this first time going to state, how did you feel?
It was full of excitement and just a lot of new opportunities that's opened up for us. Next year will be a fun year, and we should be able, hopefully, to go back because we have a returning defense and we have talent coming in.
How do you feel about Fabian Abarca, being one of the best players out there?
He's a talented player. Don't get me wrong, but it's been an honor playing with him through club ball and school ball. He's a fantastic player, and there's no player out there like him. He scores goals when there needs to be goals scored. He's there to be a clutch player when we need him.
How do you feel towards Alberto de Toro?
I feel that he's a great defender. this year was my first year on varsity and taking a starting position. So having someone with full experience back there just really helped me pick up my game and play to my full expectations throughout the season.
Overall, Brian, how do you feel about going to state?
Very proud of the team and hoping that we will do even better next year because still pretty disappointing not winning.
So Johnson will finish as number 2 in the state, 21-2 overall in their record, and their only losses in the finals to Dalton and to 5A Gainesville, which was an Elite 8 team, if you may remember. Meanwhile, Johnson's sophomore forward, Fabian Abarca, was named as one of the 3 prep players from across the nation as NSCAA TopDrawerSoccer.com High School Players of the Week. In 3 games, Abarca scored 5 goals to lead Johnson to 3 consecutive wins and also led them to the Quad A State Championship contest. Okay, North Hall and West Hall, both out of 7 AAA, went on the road with a chance to meet each other for the title, but unfortunately, in the semifinals, both were shut out. The number 5 ranked Trojans fell 4-0 at number 2 St. Pius. They end their 2014 campaign at 14-5-1 overall. Earlier, I dropped by North Hall this week and chatted with Trojan coach Jonathan Lilly, who said making the Final Four was a big deal, but he knew they'd have a good team because they play in a very good region, very tough with a lot of depth and a lot of talent, and they'd been tested.
I knew West Hall was great. I wasn't surprised when Dawson took Pius as far as they did. That's the best Dawson team I've ever seen. Probably the best, maybe the best team they've had ever. Jed Lacey's a great coach, good guy, and they've got a lot of athletes on that team. They got a lot of size.
So when you play in a region like this, you're a little bit battle tested. So you're not really worried about as long as you can get into the playoffs, you can make a splash.
Oh yes, absolutely. North Murray, I think Region 5, that first round against North Murray, I think half the battle was overcoming nerves because, the last few years we'd had some tough luck in the playoffs. We'd come up against some tough opponents. First round last year, we went up against Woodward Academy, and I felt like we came away with the feeling that we could have done more in that game. It was a tough 2-1 loss, a game that we were up in 1-0. They worked hard and got past North Murray, and then the next game against North Oconee, again playing on a field that they really didn't they really didn't know. Just kind of added to their confidence level. Going away and playing on any field under any conditions is a tough thing to do sometimes when you're coming off a bus after 2 hours or more. You have a lot of things to overcome. But they knew how to do that. We had itineraries for all those long away trips, and they had the discipline and the self-determination to do what needed to be done when it came time to do it.
Yeah, the road warriors, so to speak.
Yes.
I got to ask you a little bit, Coach. I mean, I know you're going to miss some great seniors, but what you got coming back? Are you going to be pretty good next year?
I think we have our best raw talent coming back next year. We have Jake Stevens in the midfield. We've got Junior Avalos, the leading goal scorer for North Hall High School, coming back. And we've got a lot of guys. Jairo Barrientos, a freshman this year. He's going to really help us out again. We've got some talent coming up from the middle school that we're excited about. We're going to be a force next year too. So, it's going to be good.
Now, the number 4 ranked Spartans, also in AAA, played at number 6 Oconee County and dropped that contest 2-0. West Hall ends their year at 13-6-2. And joining us now in the studio is Tim Gale, the head coach of the West Hall Spartans. And Tim, thanks for taking time out to be with us.
Pleasure to be here.
We talked with Coach Jonathan Lilly at North Hall earlier in the show, the feature we just had, and he talked about how deep and how talented this region is. So once you get in the playoffs, you can compete with anybody.
Well, actually, that's true. I think this region goes at least 5 teams, very strong teams deep. I know only 4 go to playoffs. But I thought East Hall, North Hall, Dawson, and ourselves, I thought we all played very well, very strong teams. I'm leaving out Buford, too. Buford, very strong teams this year. And so going into playoffs, we felt pretty good about ourselves. We certainly didn't find our way through the season. We found our team, and so, yes, sir, it was very strong, and did help us prepare well for that state playoff.
Well, another thing Coach Lilly mentioned was the fact that in a part of the interview I didn't include earlier, but East Hall, a team that made the playoffs last year, didn't even make it this year, but was a very good team.
Very good team. They played very well. We had to beat them in PKs, and they were very strong as well. So we had lots of teams in our region that were just playing good soccer.
Well, Tim, overall, this area, I mean, Johnson makes it to the state championship game and only loses 2-0. Gainesville makes it to the Elite Eight. You guys literally could have wound up playing one another for the state championship, West Hall and North Hall. I think, of course, the influx of the Latinos, the Hispanic folks that came into the area, where soccer in the Latino countries is their national game. It is football, el football. The football of the rest of the world is soccer, what we call soccer. Is there anything else other than that that makes this area so good?
That's a very good question. I know that's one of the major factors for sure. The boys play hard. They've grown up with the sport. They watch the sport. They've been taught by their families. Other boys, been in club ball, learn how to play well at a high caliber. We have a lot of guys in this area who've been trained well, and it's a mecca for soccer. I mean, like you said, look at all the results of the Gainesvilles, the Johnsons, and all our region and all. There's very strong soccer in this area, and we've played most of the teams, and so it gave us a good chance to see what our competition is like, and the boys are kind of used to it as well. They've played together for some years and have done well.
And also the youth teams, Tim. Now that it's just like every other little league sport, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, wrestling has come along with that kind of thing, and getting the kids in early on. And some of them are coached pretty well from the time they're tiny little kids.
Yeah, it's much different when I was going through.
Yeah.
We put a uniform on, throw it out in the field, and kick the ball around,
right.
And kind of get an idea what to do and just pass it around. These guys are trained since they're very small, either from their families and or because they're club teams or rec teams, and they grow up in the sport. They're trained very well. There's a lot of great trainers in the area and coaches in the area, from rec through the club, and so they've learned to play, and they certainly can play. They're very strong.
Let's go back to your team. Fine year, again making the Final Four, which is a tremendous thing. When did you know we're going to be pretty good? Now, you did well in the Georgia Mountains Cup, right? You won it, didn't you? You won it.
We did. That wasn't it for me
at
all. I don't think the team thought that either, because we were still finding ourselves at that point. We still had some things to deal with on the field to get the chemistry with our team and play together as a team and get people in the right spots and have our best formation for us. I really felt like we really found ourselves in the Dawson County loss. I don't feel like we played like we should have lost that game. We did lose it. We played great that game, especially from the first 10 minutes in the game. After that on, we played great. We had pressure the whole game. We were trying to score. Couldn't score. It was a very good defensive team. Dawson County is very strong on defense. But we controlled the field well and had chances and couldn't get in there. But we knew at that point, Dawson being as good as they were, the record they had, that we had a good chance to play with anybody. And so we felt good about ourselves after that game.
So you make the Final Four, and you go to play. You're ranked number 4 in the state. And you go to number 6, Oconee County, have to play on the road, and drop the contest 2-0. Tell me a little bit of how that game went.
Well, simply in the earlier part of the game, when the first score happened 15, 20 minutes in, it was just a mismark. We had a corner, and we mismarked somebody. We had people in position. We thought somebody turned their back and didn't watch. Some guy came on the ball for Oconee County and headed it in, and that was the goal. And I still feel like we were playing well at that point. We actually played even a little bit better after that. That last 20 minutes of that first half, I thought we really were kind of dominating in a pretty good way. We had lots of chances, got the ball in close, took a few good strikes, just missed. Second half was a lot of the same. I felt like we played really well second half, gave ourselves chances. The boys worked the ball very well. They worked it wide and crossed. We had some good chances to score and just couldn't get the ball in. And so sometimes you end up on the short end of the scoreboard. Mm-hmm. But we played very well. The boys are talented. They played well as a team. I was very proud of our effort.
Anybody you want to brag on? I know it's a team sport. Anybody that really did it for you this year, who provided that leadership, that spark?
Well, you can go, maybe one spot per position. Eduardo Magana in the back, and these other guys. Ronald Portillo certainly played great defense, among others. I can name them all. They have a great defense. Midfield, certainly Jordan Moreno stepped up. He played all over the field. He played great defense for us, got headers out of the air. He moved up, made some good plays on the offensive end as well.
Had a hat trick, I think, in the quarterfinals.
Had a hat trick as well. He was just a very strong player all over the field and was a team leader for sure. And we got a lot of talent up top as well, but certainly Omar Castillo, very strong with the ball, delivered the ball very well, controlled the game for us a lot of times, calmed things down, gave us good chances to score. A beautiful assist on goal. He was very strong for us this year. We're gonna miss him next year for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, I guess we need to tell folks that St. Pius did wind up beating Oconee County for the AAA championship.
True.
And so I got to ask you before we get out of here, Tim, what you got coming back next year, Coach? Already got to look ahead, I guess.
Yeah, we do. We have a lot of guys coming back next year. We're losing a couple of key seniors and some other seniors that helped us a lot this year. They were team players and worked hard for us and led the team. But we've got guys that can play, and they're going to be back, and I think we're going to have a pretty strong team. You never can know for sure how the chemistry is going to come together, how the team's going to fall together when you put them on the field. But we've got some guys with some experience, some guys with state playoff experience, and they're going to come back and help us out a lot next year.
All right. Tim Gale, head coach of the West Hall Spartans. Good luck at West Hall. All right, Tim, thank you very much. Now, before we get out of here on soccer, let me tell you that in Region 8-5A, we talked about Gainesville making the Elite Eight. Well, Ricardo Gomez was voted the region's most outstanding player by the league coaches. Cesar Regaldo and Christian Escalante made first-team All-Region on the girls' side. Lady Elephants' Jasmine Pinaldo and Anna Yeomans made the first team, as did Corey Thomas of Flowery Branch. We head back to the baseball diamond when Hall County Sports returns.
Mountain View Auto Repair is your local full-service auto repair shop. Trusted with your vehicles for over 20 years, our experience will ensure that your vehicle will stay well-maintained year-round. You can trust our experts in everything from transmissions to brakes to engine repairs and oil changes. So visit owner Danny Hammock and his staff of professionals at 3365 Mountain View Road in Gainesville, or give them a call at 770-535-7278. That's Mountain View Auto Repair for your complete auto service.
Gary Glenn back on the set of Hall County Sports Television, along with Rob Bruce, pastor of McKelvey Road United Methodist Church. And Rob, we're in the middle of a sermon series on what the church is all about.
That's right, Gary. We're right in the middle of a sermon series on what it is to be the church. I read some articles right after Easter where a number of churches tried to attract people into their congregation by offering free television sets and iPads and doing special plays based on zombies and giving away Starbucks coupons. One of the news outlets I read mentioned about this. As any good Christian knows, if there were three things Jesus stood for in his time, they were consumer electronics, overpriced coffee, and television shows about zombies. Gary, you and I both know that's not what church is about. Church is about feeding the hungry, about offering the thirsty something to drink, about clothing the naked, about welcoming the stranger, visiting the sick and those in prisons. And if you would like to check out a church that does just that, come see us at McEver Road United Methodist on Sunday.
All right, Rob, we'll see you then.
All righty, Gary.
All right, in the baseball playoffs, yet another sweep for the Gainesville Red Elephants in their Class 5A quarterfinal series with Stars Mill, which had a little bit of nearly everything in those particular two games. Gainesville's Michael Geddes struck out 12 and hit a solo homer to help his own cause in a Game 1 7-0 shutout. He went the distance for his 7th win of the year. He was aided and abetted by the fact that the Panthers gave up 5 of their 7 runs on wild pitches. Yeah, Gainesville scored 5 of 7 runs on wild pitches. Now in Game 2, which was a 13-2 Mercy Rule win, starter Caleb Whittington, who had an RBI single in Game 1, smacked a 3-run homer and struck out the first batter he faced before giving up a 2-run shot himself, and then he had to leave the mound due to some tightness in his forearm, but he stayed in the game at first base as Chandler Newton came on in relief to get the win, and Harrison Stiles got the save. The Elephants also swiped 8 bases in Game 2. Geddes had another home run, a 2-run blast to help the offense. Sims Griffith got on base 6 times in the doubleheader, as well as his runs scored and RBI. And that sweep set up a meeting with top-ranked Houston County earlier this week in the semifinals. Hall County Sports was there. Well, it was a home run derby here in Games 1 and 2 of the 5A semifinals at Ivy Watson Field, and it was a split between the homestanding Gainesville Red Elephants and the visiting Bears of Houston County. The teams hit 7 home runs between them in the doubleheader. Now, it was a split, as I said. Game 1 ended 6-2 in favor of the Bears from Houston. Gainesville had taken a 2-0 lead on a 2-run homer by Michael Curry in the first inning. The Bears then tied it on a 2-run shot by Blake Jackson in the 6th, and then they took the lead for good on a bases-loaded RBI single by Jackson an inning later. A 3-run homer by Hunt Smith on the next at-bat put the game out of reach, and that final again 6-2 in favor of Houston County. And then in Game 2, boy, you talk about something that went back and forth. Gainesville took a 3-0 lead in Game 2, but Houston had two run homers in the second inning. Josh Profit hit a shot, as did Mark Lumsden. Curry went deep on a solo dinger for Gainesville, who then tied it at 5-all on an RBI by Luke Maddox in the fourth. Smith untied it with his second homer of the day. That was a 2-run shot for a 7-5 lead for the Bears. RBI single by Mikey Gonzalez cut the lead to 7-6, and Sims Griffith got hit on the helmet to force in a run with the bases loaded. That tied it at 7-all in the fifth inning. Gonzalez scored on a wild pitch. That gave the Elephants the lead back 8-7. And a throw from center fielder Michael Gaddis enabled catcher Drew Satterfield to tag a runner at home. A great throw, a great tag. That preserved the lead for Gainesville. Brandon Sewell then hit a 2-run homer for a 10-7 GHS lead. Gainesville added 3 more in the seventh, and that final was 13-7 in favor of Gainesville to force a Game 3. Sims Griffith getting the win for the Red Elephants in Game 2. Again, that forced Game 3 for the Red Elephants and the Bears, and here's how that one came out. Okay, some other news from the Diamond. North Hall seniors Stephen Murray and McCoy Savage both get to play collegiate baseball after leading the Trojans into the postseason yet again. Murray, who served as the Trojans catcher, will play for Covenant College in Lookout Mountain, and Savage, who played in the outfield, signed on to play with Toccoa Falls College. We get back to the gridiron when HCS TV continues.
There are moments in life that you wish would last forever. Dreams that really do come true. Treasures worth protecting. And a future to prepare for. Turner Wood & Smith is with you every step of the way. Established in the Gainesville area in 1905. Turner Wood & Smith has become Northeast Georgia's largest independent insurance agency by offering professional service at competitive prices. Turner Wood & Smith, ensuring your future since 1905.
We're back. I'm Gary Glenn, and this is Hall County Sports Television. Well, as the spring sports winded up, the fall sports are getting underway. Well, sort of. Spring football practice at a lot of our area schools found folks looking to extend the winning ways of last season or perhaps look for solutions to problems. Now, one of the biggest surprises from the 2013 season was the overachieving West Hall Spartans, who not only had a winning season, but they made the playoffs in just Coach Tony Lottie's second year. Our Matt Manning talked with the coach about expectations for this next time around.
Coach, how do you feel coming off the offseason and into spring?
Well, of course, I felt like we had a good season last year. Not really the season I was looking for, but it was a positive season. And coming off of that, I felt like we had a lot that we could build on after year 2. So, we're expecting big things for year 3. We've already started working very hard to reach our goals for that year 3 plan. So I've been very happy with the kids, their effort, their attitude. There's just a great bunch of kids here, and I just enjoy being with them every day. I'm going to miss the group that kind of graduated. We only had 10 seniors last year. Looks like we're going to have another small class. So we're a young football team. We're still figuring things out, but I think our future's pretty bright.
And we wish the Spartans well next time out. I'm back to wrap it up after this. Hall County Sports is brought to you in part by Green Ford on Browns Bridge Road in Gainesville. Check out the latest deals. And remember, when you go Green Ford. By Mountain View Auto Repair, a full-service shop for all of your automotive needs. Call Danny at Mountain View Auto Repair at 770-535-7278. And by McKellar Road United Methodist Church. Visit us on McKellar Road in Oakwood with 3 worship services every Sunday morning, Kids Town and adult small groups. McKellar Road United Methodist Church is dedicated to transforming the world through the good news of Jesus Christ. Gary Glenn back on the set of Hall County Sports Television along with Rob Bruce, pastor of McKellar Road United Methodist Church. And Rob, we're in the middle of a sermon series on what the church is all about.
That's right, Gary. We're right in the middle of a sermon series on what it is to be the church. You know, I read some articles right after Easter where a number of churches tried to attract people into their congregation by offering free television sets and iPads and doing special plays based on zombies and giving away Starbucks coupons. One of the news outlets I read mentioned about this. As any good Christian knows, if there were 3 things Jesus stood for in his time, they were consumer electronics, overpriced coffee, and television shows about zombies. Gary, you and I both know that's not what church is about. Church is about feeding the hungry, about offering the thirsty something to drink, about clothing the naked, about welcoming the stranger, visiting the sick and those in prisons. And if you would like to check out a church that does just that, come see us at McEver Road United Methodist on Sunday.
All right, Rob, we'll see you then.
All righty, Gary.
Mountain View Auto Repair is your local full-service auto repair shop. Trusted with your vehicles for over 20 years, our experience will ensure that your vehicle will stay well-maintained year-round.
Mountain View Auto Repair is the place to bring your vehicle. They'll always treat you right. Their service is good and the prices are very reasonable.
You can trust our experts in everything from transmissions to brakes to engine repairs and oil changes.
My wife and I bring our cars to Mountain View Auto Repair because they're honest, they do good work, and their prices are reasonable.
So visit owner Danny Hammock and his staff of professionals at 3365 Mountain View Road in Gainesville, or give them a call at 770-535-7278. That's Mountain View Auto Repair for your complete auto service.
We're back. This is Hall County Sports Television. I'm Gary Glenn, wrapping things up on the local sporting scene for this week's show. Chestatee has made a change in the boys' basketball coaching position. The new man is Chad Pittman, who will replace Coach Gary Barnes, who recently resigned his slot with the school to accept a teaching and coaching opportunity in his home state of Tennessee. Now, Pittman, who is a 1991 graduate of Johnson High School, has served as the head girls basketball coach at Duluth High School since 2010. His teams at Duluth have made 4 consecutive GHSA state tournament appearances, with this year's team advancing to the Sweet 16 and the highest class in Georgia, Class 6A. Now, prior to Duluth, Coach Pittman held the same position at Jackson County High School from 2001 to 2010. He began his career in education in 1996 as a math teacher and assistant boys basketball coach at his alma mater of Johnson High School. Speaking of basketball, meanwhile, North Hall's basketball's Blair Stewart recently signed a letter of intent to play basketball for Truett McConnell College up in Cleveland. In Region Tennis in 8-5A, coaches Todd Vorkel of Flowery Branch and Coach Kelly Smith of Gainesville were named Boys and Girls Region Coaches of the Year. Well, their teams, after all, did win the region championships. Now, on the first team, all region, were the Branch singles players Bo Millwood and Graham McKinnon, and the doubles teams of Taylor Fiorello, Clay King, as well as the duo of Kwong Cow and Austin Higgs. Branch girls, Nicole Morris and Durden Smith made the first squad in singles with their doubles teammates of Brianna Benton and Brooke Kane. Now, the Gainesville doubles team of Morgan Mercer, Suzanne Smith also made first team all-region as well. And finally, earlier this week, they held the state golf championships over in Augusta, and we'll have more on the results of that on next week's show. That's our show for this time out. I'm Gary Glenn, Hall County Sports.